Good day, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Today is a very special day because we are having our first episode in our podcast. We have named our podcast We Open Doors, and of course, it's going to be educational part about the citizenship, immigration, and even also residency by investment programs. Because it is a special day and because it is for the first time, we had decided to invite one of a very close friend of mine and a very reputable lawyer. He came all the way from United Kingdom. He is with us today, Mr. Garth. Really nice to see you today.
It's lovely to see you, Tony. Thanks for the introduction and thanks for inviting me here today. As you know, I'm a British immigration lawyer.
Yes, you are.
I'm the founder and principal of Garth Coates Solicitors.
For how many years?
I've been regulated in the UK for over 30 years, but I also worked in the immigration department of the Home Office. So I've got a lot of experience behind me. We're based in London. As you know, I've been coming here 4 or 5 times a year for 15 years.
Yes.
And we provide bespoke advice to our clients who are looking for immigration solutions. And as you know, we are British lawyers. We are not
Indeed.
British agents or consultants. We are highly regulated and
Indeed.
highly professional. And
Indeed.
you know the difference.
Indeed. And honestly, you know, when we knew each other, I think like 2 to 3 years ago, one of a very common client, he introduced each other.
I remember.
And he had a very bad experience that day with other firm or consultant firm, if we can call it. And then this is the moment that he came to know that the only way to save his application in the UK was you only. And that's the moment he said, Tony, I've got a very good lawyer. I would love to introduce you to him. So maybe there's any common business that can come together.
Yeah, I mean, I was very glad that we were given the introduction together because
Indeed.
you are highly regulated yourself
Azure.
as a lawyer. So obviously we have a certain ethical standard, a professional standard, and we look at our clients' best interests.
Yeah, indeed.
And unfortunately, coming from London to here, over the years, it is becoming more and more shark-infested waters. And the amount of misinformation, I will say misinformation, I could say lies, but the truth is in there. Misinformation and lies peddled over the social media and internet by agents in Dubai about British immigration is borderline scandalous.
Indeed.
And as you know, 50% of my work in Dubai is helping clients who've been
Fix their problems.
to fix their problems that they've had bad experiences with other agents and they've lost money and they are gobsmacked when you actually explain the law and what that law actually means and what's possible and what's not possible.
That's so true. So we would love to talk a lot about other matters, but let's go straight to the point.
Okay.
The people, of course, everyone is asking, what are my options to migrate to the UK? So, and with keeping, of course, considering the current changes that have happened recently. So what are my options to migrate to UK?
Okay, so if I put it into context, the British immigration laws often change maybe twice a year.
Twice a year.
And as you know, as a lawyer, you have the law, you have guidelines, you have procedures, then you have implementation, all of this. So unless you're really, really an expert in British immigration, anyone can look at some guidelines online, but they mean nothing.
True.
Absolutely nothing. So the question you asked is what immigration routes are currently open to people.
That's
and we'll start off as an example of a negative, because a lot of clients that have come to me here have, let's say, lost money by doing an innovator category visa, which
is currently promoting quite heavily, at least in our market in the UAE.
There you go. And unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation because most immigration routes that we will talk about, you get residency after 5 years. Innovator, you get it after 3 years. So a lot of the misinformation is yes, you will get residency after 3 years, and yes, the investment is 50,000.
But I love the but.
The but. And the but is the but that isn't being told to clients. And the but is you will not get residency unless you have been highly regulated and examined during the 3 years. But one of the criteria to get residency is you have to create, one of them is that you have to create at least 5 jobs at £25,000 a year annually, which is 125,000.
Wow.
This is only one of the options for the criteria for residency, but this is the stuff, is the but that isn't told to clients.
That's very unfortunate.
So, as I said to you, with respect to a lot of the business people I deal with, do people actually think Britain would be open for an investment of just 50,000? Of course it wouldn't be. There's always going to be caveats and conditions.
Sure.
So, as a lawyer, I do very few innovator applications, because innovator is designed for people who have got a business model out of the norm. So in the past, it was entrepreneur, bringing in 200,000, but it was open to every industry type.
Sure.
The government then wanted to make a decision to make business people, that they only want business people in certain criteria. So innovator is they're looking, for instance, often with people with particular IT cutting edge skills.
Yes.
So innovator, you have to be, you have to get your business idea.
What the meaning of innovator?
Okay.
That's the thing that the people would love to know.
Exactly. So it has to be an idea which is not generally available on the market. And your business plan that you have to be exactly. And the business plan you have to be involved in putting together has to be accredited by a government approved body before you can start the immigration. So what I've heard from clients who've come to me is, we've lost a lot of money, such and such applied for innovator for me. And I said, so what was your cutting edge business idea? And they go, we don't know. The agency put our business plan together. And I'm going, so you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, even if you did get to the UK. I mean, it's refused, but you have no idea what you were going to be doing.
True.
And often the applicant is called for interview at the consulate. And I've had cases where they've been called for interview to talk about their business plan that they know nothing about. So there are horror stories out there. So innovator is for a very particular segment of people, but it's very, very hard to comply with. And people who think the hook is it's only 50,000, yes, I'm running to the UK, it's not going to happen. So there are other categories which are out there. British immigration is tough, but there are routes for genuine people who have genuine cases.
Sure.
The main route that I focus in a lot is where British immigration focuses on individuals, but there's one route, expansion worker, which is it's all about the foreign company.
Okay.
So it's
like opening a branch.
Exactly. So it's all about the foreign company opening a branch in the UK to help that parent company grow by having a British base. So we help a lot of companies do that. But obviously, if the company is privately owned by a family, you know, the company can use the family to send the family to the UK to represent it. And of course, they will be the best people to represent it because they own the company.
Exactly. The family that will take care of the business in any way.
Exactly. An expansion worker is very, very good, and it has a lot of advantages. You get residency after 5 years. But one of the huge advantages is that the government does not fix in advance by legislation the turnover of the UK company, how much it must turn over. There's no definition of profitability, and there's no definition of how many jobs you have to create. There's an expectation that if you come to the UK to represent the foreign company, that over 5 years you will grow and expand and obviously create jobs and pay some tax in the UK, but it is not defined by law. Okay, so for genuine businesses that want to send people to the UK, including, for instance, if they own their own company, it can be done with strategy and planning. So expansion worker is a fantastic immigration category.
That's great. So at least there is two routes, let's say, to get to migrate to the UK in the best way possible. The very common question that I always get is, will it make a difference if I'm from one country, that mainly unstable countries, that especially that if I'm living in these unstable countries, I'm interested to go with one of these two options, let's say, to migrate to UK.
So expansion worker we've talked about. I'll talk about skilled worker in a minute, but the question you've asked about, does the government discriminate? I'm pleased to say that British government does not discriminate. It only wants genuine people. So if you're a genuine person from Iraq, Iran, or Syria, it can still work if it's done right. Obviously, there are caveats, but in the round, if it's a genuine case, it should be treated on its merits.
That's very interesting.
I mean, can I tell you a horror story that I heard last year? Because I'm sorry about telling you horror stories, but this is the type of thing that
we learn about,
that you need to know about. And I had a client who moved from Iran to Dubai because he was told by the particular agent, no, we cannot do expansion worker from Iran because the British government discriminates against Iranians.
Oh, wow.
So therefore, we have to bring you to Dubai, set up in Dubai, and then we can do your application in Dubai. So we're using the fear factor to basically engender more fees.
Yes.
By saying, we will charge you this to set up in Dubai.
And that might be expensive.
And I said, no, I have clients I apply from Iran, Tehran all the time. It's all about how genuine the case is. Obviously, if you have a lawyer representing you and the consulate know your name for 20, 30 years, the credibility is there.
I see.
So what I'm saying is that every case is treated on its merits, and it should not be prefaced by I am Iranian or Iraqi or a particular nationality.
I see. It's a very interesting topic that honestly I wasn't aware about it, that the law keeps changing almost twice a year.
It can do. There are policy changes and interpretations.
So if you're not really on top of the game, this is very difficult to know like the qualification of the cases that is happening.
Exactly. Now we talked about expansion worker, and I know we haven't got a lot of time, and I know you've got other questions, but one thing is very important at the minute is another option for people. And I will give you a pre-Brexit and a post-Brexit chat.
Yes,
very quickly.
I was about to ask.
So pre-Brexit, if you're a British company and you want to employ a foreign worker, you have to first get a sponsor license for the British company to show it's accredited and validated as a genuine company to get a license. In the past, it could, in certain cases, have been difficult to get that license. Once you get the license, you then had to advertise to the British people, or British and European people, to show there's no British person or European person suitable for the job. Then you can get into the realms of work permits and eligibility. The big advantage now is that getting sponsor licenses for companies is much easier. For, let's say, the rules are much more flexible. So in other words, in the past, it might have been difficult getting a sponsor license for a newly established company because it's got no history. Now it is possible to get sponsor licenses if the company has been trading for a much shorter period of time.
I see.
Which is very good. And now there is no advertising requirements. So if a new-ish British company wants to employ a foreign person from Dubai, they can do it in a much better way than they could do before.
I see.
And this is very important for people planning for options.
Oh, great. So the very common question that we always get we get the question is will it make any difference if I am having a dual nationality, mainly from the Caribbean islands, the Commonwealth countries that have a program?
Yeah, that's a good question too. And I often hear people who bought a second passport.
They invest.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for the semantics. Yes, they've invested in getting a Caribbean passport, but often part of the rhetoric of getting that passport is they have been painted a picture that getting this passport, let's say Britain will open its doors to you. And at an extreme, I've been told that I was told I could come and live in the UK on this passport.
That's a very big mistake.
And
a lot of
clearly
agents
it is
promoting the way. It's not living in the UK. You can travel and visit as a tourist.
Exactly.
If the immigration officer allow you to come without
now that you need the visa, the fact that you have
some of the countries.
Exactly. Now you've got a Dominican passport, you need a visa for the UK.
Yes.
Having that Dominican passport, in reality, should give you no more advantage than if that person originally holds an Iranian passport.
Yeah. So this is, of course, we're talking about particularly in the UK, but of course, having a second passport, it gets its own benefits, and of course, we'll talk about.
Of course, but we're specifically talking about the UK.
In the UK, that's the thing. And this is something that the people would love to know. The other question that a lot of people would love to know, the right answer is if I am a Commonwealth citizen, mainly again from these 5 Caribbean countries that they have citizenship program, what are my benefits in the UK?
None. Do you want the long answer or the short answer? So I have heard again that not only you can come and live in the UK, but you're entitled to bring your family for free education.
And you've heard this. Exactly,
and of course all of this is rubbish. And yes, that you get reduced rates to send your kids to British university if you've got a Commonwealth passport. It's all misleading. I'll say it in a nice way.
Yeah, thank you for saying it in the nice way. I always tell the people that there is There is a right answer, if we can call it, but there is accurate answer. So there is a big difference between the right and the accurate answer as well. What is your advice, let's say, especially for the people now, they are considering UK one of the options to migrate. What are the basic things to qualify for any option in immigration option in the UK?
As you know, because of my business trips here, the first thing I always do is I have a paid consultation with my clients.
Yes.
Because then I have 1 hour to drill down on everything about their personal business circumstances, but also their wider family circumstances.
Absolutely.
They may have family in the UK, they may have family in Europe. Some of this might be advantageous for setting companies up. Whatever someone tells me over the phone is irrelevant to actually having a paid consultation for 1 hour. And at the end of that 1 hour, I can then propose what may be possible, or basically say nothing is possible and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
True.
Which is half the thing.
True.
They're coming, as you said, for accurate advice.
True. I have a very important question I would love to ask you. Most of the people who they are interested in any immigration or citizenship or residency program, they always prefer to go with different opinions, to see that I have to check with this person or with this firm and so on.
Yeah. Why? Tell me, is this cultural or?
And majority of the people at the moment they do so to check with other different companies to get different opinions. And we hear that a lot of misinformation that it is happening, especially in the UAE at the moment, from some firms, unfortunately.
Yes.
And I'm sure that, and by the way, the common person that we come to, like he let us know each other. He made having this bad experience. How we can, let's say, prevent having this misinformation, where we can get the right source, where we can get the right information from the internet or from a credible person, or how we can identify if the person giving us this information is, let's say, officially authorized from the UK law bar or anything to be approved.
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, if you're a British lawyer, anyone can call themselves a British lawyer.
Yeah, right.
But if you're a lawyer, you have to be accredited by the Law Society. If you're accredited by the Law Society, you have your registration number that anyone can check your firm, whether it's officially accredited or not.
And if you're accredited, I guess.
Excuse me?
He can make a complaint in case if there is anything
absolutely.
to the bar.
That's why lawyers have high ethical standards, because they have to work under, obviously, they have to know the law inside out, but they have to uphold the law and look after the clients to the best standards. Lawyers are not salespeople.
Yes, indeed.
And
that's a very good statement.
They're not there to. They obviously have to generate business to make money, but they do it on the auspices of the regulations of the law.
Yeah.
That's why they work to very high ethical standards.
Yeah.
But the question you said about people wanting to verify information they may have read or heard down the pub or whatever, it's very simple. They either come, and I'm not promoting myself, I'm saying if you want to know what the reality is, you speak to a authorized British immigration lawyer.
Indeed.
Me or another one.
Yeah.
That's great. And you will know, I mean, as I said, we've got 30 years experience. I worked in the Home Office. Obviously, I'm more than happy to speak to clients, but any good British, exactly. You don't speak to an agent in Dubai who dabbles in it.
Yeah.
You're putting your immigration, I've had clients who put their faith in certain agents and paid a lot of money. Not only have they lost the money, but in the worst cases, they've not only been refused, but they've been banned for 10 years.
Wow.
So it's like the agent doesn't care. And their reputation is not affected, but that person is banned from making another application for 10 years. They suffer.
It's a future.
Yeah.
Future changes to that.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of time, and I'd love to ask you the last question.
Okay.
But this is related to the visas.
Oh yeah.
The UK
for visit visas.
For visit visas.
Right.
What are your advice for anybody interested to visit UK, whether a business or a tourist?
Yeah, I would say, unfortunately, although people can make the applications themselves, The reality is.
Allow me just to cut you.
Please.
To cut you off. It's very rare for someone to say that you can do your application by yourself, and this is a big difference between a salesperson and a lawyer. So I admire that. I really thank you for that.
Yes, anyone can do it themselves, but you're going. Unfortunately, the way the law is that the British government is very strong on visit visas, and you have to really prove your case. And unfortunately, your average person who naively, in the best way, thinks it's filling in a form and saying, I'm visiting the UK, here's a bank statement. It's not going to be like that. Especially, for instance, if, let's say, for instance, you are Syrian, you have certain challenges with the British consulate because you are here as Syrian, and perhaps the British consulate may think that there's an ulterior motive for you to getting a visit visa. And if you're self-employed, and we had the analysis that you could be a businessman with a company with £10 million in the account that you own, and you've got a bank, you've got your own personal account with £100 in it, and it's, let's say, refused, and the person will come to me and say, I'm rich, what do you mean it's refused? I haven't got money. The company's got money, you don't have it. It's the company's money. So visit visas have to be done well. I mean, as you know, I have cases who come to me who've been refused 4 or 5 times by going to 4 or 5 different agents, and it's the same result. All it means is that I've got 5 layers of mess to deal with to put them on an even track.
So true. And the recent inquiry we received, and I was quite surprised, honestly, with it, that the person applied by himself to the UK visit visa. And mistakenly, he answered one of the questions, have you ever been refused?
You can be banned for 10 years by putting an X in the office.
He was banned for 10 years just because of this question, which is, I totally agree and understand it from the immigration office perspective.
You have to be careful.
That matter, exactly. So the yes and no question might even affect you in the future. Like 10 years banned.
And often my cases where people have been banned for 10 years say, well, how can I not challenge this because the agent did it? And I go, no, you paid the agent to represent you. You are responsible for everything they have prepared.
You are in the front. So
you're on the front.
If you get punished or you get any judgment, it is going to be you, not
and I agree, it's very harsh. And people who have been banned for 10 years, there's no real right to, let's say, challenge it. But I do make, in certain cases, new applications. Depending on the case, because it's so extreme the penalty for a genuine error, and often there's a misinterpretation of the question by the person. You understand? It's not black and white X or no X. There might be particular circumstances, and I have overturned 10-year ban cases.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, but there's no rhyme or reason to it. It fits on the particular person's circumstances, and if they want to use a lawyer to fight it, that's what we will do. That's great.
So we at least we have covered in the first podcast.
Yes,
it's quite good information for the audience to do it. Everyone watching us on YouTube, of course, feel free to comment, and we would love to answer all of your questions. This is going to be the first episode, but it is not the last, of course, and we would love to hear from you all your questions and the inquiries as well if you need. Gareth, what can I say? Really thank you from coming all the way from UK to Dubai to have this podcast and to enlighten people about the genuine information about the UK immigration policy.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for the invitation, and look forward to future collaborations and more podcasts together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I think it's a fantastic idea, and I think it's going to be very successful.
Indeed, great. And with the credible people like you to be with us in this episodes, I'm sure that at least we will add value and valuable information to the people, so at least they know the right answer from the right people.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Gareth. Thank you.